You can read all the self-help books in the world, take courses, watch seminars, and listen to motivational audios every day. But if you don't grasp the power of repetition, your life will stay exactly where it is. You may be intelligent, gifted, and disciplined, yet if your paradigm, this invisible mental programming, does not change, you will sabotage yourself again and again without even realizing it. Think about it. Why do most people live the same year over and over, 10, 20, even 30 times, and call it life? You can study for years, memorize catchphrases, understand the law of attraction principles, or write affirmations on your bathroom mirror. But your life does not change. I had to fail many times before realizing one thing that changed everything. You do not live what you know. You live what you are programmed to live. Knowledge alone does not change life. You probably know extremely smart people who are financially broke, or PhDs who cannot maintain healthy relationships, or who live in constant anxiety and frustration. I was one of those people, sick, unhappy, and totally broke. Still, I read books and listened to successful people, but nothing changed because my programming remained old. It is like trying to run a modern app on an outdated system. It doesn't work, it crashes. Most people say they want to change, but they cannot because they are controlled by an old paradigm. What is a paradigm? It is subconscious mental programming that governs your behavior. Almost all your behavior is automatic. Duke University proved that more than 95% of what we do daily is habit, not rational thought. You don't think before you act, you just do it. For example, how you brush your teeth or put on your shoes, you do it the same way every day. Now extend that to your behavior with money, relationships, and work. You repeat, reproduce, and react. Therefore, even if you want to change, your life follows a script you did not consciously write. Have you ever earned extra money only to see it disappear quickly? Or started a new habit and stopped soon after? Or promised to get out of debt but ended up creating new ones? That is not bad luck or lack of willpower, it is old programming. You received this programming as a child, from your parents, school, society, and culture. You heard phrases like, money doesn't grow on trees, so-and-so was born lucky, born poor, die poor. These ideas sank so deep, they became part of you. So even when you learn new things like you can be wealthy and deserve to prosper, you continue reacting in the same old way. How many times have you tried something new and heard a voice inside saying, this is not for me, I am not good at this, or I always fail? That voice is your paradigm speaking. If you don't understand this, you will live in a cycle, repeating old behaviors with new clothes. You change your job but remain frustrated. You move cities but stay unhappy. True change begins from within. You earn a bit more money but still feel scarce. Do you know why? Because you brought along the old you. I remember like it was today when a mentor told me, Bob, no matter how much you know, if your paradigm doesn't change, your life won't change. At that time, I had no idea what a paradigm was, but he was right. I was trying to build a castle on a weak foundation. Only when I started consciously reprogramming myself with daily repetition did things begin to change. The change wasn't quick, it was slow, gradual, consistent. But it was real, and it's not just me. Have you noticed how most poor families raise children who also live in poverty? And how wealthy families tend to raise children who keep getting richer? It's not the environment. It's subconscious programming. It's what's repeated daily during lunch, conversation, and glances. You were programmed to live the life you live, and you'll keep living it until you reprogram your internal operating system. The question you must ask yourself is, do you want to keep being controlled by beliefs that aren't even yours? Or will you take control of your life? And pay attention, it's not about motivation, it's not about feeling good for a day or two. It's about committing to daily repetition of the new. Even if at first it feels strange, even if everything inside you says this is nonsense, because that's exactly where the magic begins. You don't need to know everything. You only need to start installing a new program, a new paradigm, and this begins now and with a decision. Because if you don't do this, if you keep repeating the old, you'll keep creating the same tomorrow that you can't stand living today. There are only two known ways to change a paradigm, just two. The first is through a deep emotional impact. Something so strong, so striking, it shakes you inside out and forces a change. The second is through constant and spaced repetition of ideas that completely contradict what you believe today. Now listen carefully. You can't count on emotional impact. It happens unpredictably. It might be a loss, a trauma, or an event beyond your control. It's painful and most times leaves scars. That's why the safe, reliable path you can start right now is the path of repetition. Repetition is the process of rewriting your mental code, word by word, belief by belief, habit by habit. I remember when I began studying personal development, I listened to an audio by Earl Nightingale called The Strangest Secret. His voice, his words, the content, it felt like he was speaking directly to me. I didn't understand everything, but I knew there was something powerful there. So I started listening to that audio every day, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day. Each time I listened, something different happened. I had read that book dozens of times before, but that morning, sitting alone with a cup of coffee, I reread a single page, and it felt as if that page had never been there before. It truly struck me deeply. It was not the page that was new, but my perception had changed, because I had been repeating that content for weeks, months, even years. Suddenly, I saw what had always been right in front of my eyes. That is why I say repetition is the key. Science has already proven it. Neuroscientists call it neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change and reorganize neural pathways based on repeated experiences. When you repeat an idea, a statement, or a thought pattern, you strengthen the neural connections linked to it. Over time, those connections become so strong, they turn into automatic behaviors. Do you want to change your results? Reprogram your brain. How? Through repetition. But here's something few people talk about. It's not just repeating for the sake of repeating. You must repeat with intention, feeling, and focus. Repeat ideas that are the exact opposite of what you currently believe. Listen to, read, and affirm things that challenge your current paradigms. Do this day after day, even when it seems like it's not working, because it is. Maybe you're thinking, but Bob, I tried that. I repeated for some time, but nothing changed. Let me ask you this. Do you brush your teeth once and expect never to have to brush again? Do you go to the gym for 1 week and expect the body of your dreams? So why do you think reprogramming your mind will take only a few days? The programming you carry was installed over many years, since childhood, and reinforced every day. Therefore, if you want to change the belief system that governs your life, you need to plant a new idea, water it every day, and protect it until it takes deep root. Imagine a white line. Now, that is my voice speaking to you. Now imagine a red line. That is you listening. But during this conversation, your mind wanders and you enter a parallel thought. You still hear my voice but are no longer paying attention. This happens all the time, which is why you can listen to the same content multiple times and each time feel like there is something new. It's not new. You just hadn't heard it before because your mind was busy with something else. That's why repetition is necessary, because with each new listening, you connect with a different part of what is being said. Little by little, these ideas sink in and settle. Before you know it, you start reacting in new ways to old situations. Most people listen once and give up. Those who transform their lives listen hundreds of times, and do you know what they discover? The more they listen, the more they learn. And the more they learn, the more they grow. You don't have to believe everything right now, but you need to repeat until it becomes part of who you are. You don't have to understand everything now, but you must trust the process. Repetition is silent transformation. It is the brick laid every day until the house is built, and when the house is finished, you won't even remember living in the open. So if you want to change your paradigm, start now today. Choose an idea that embodies your new self. Write it down, listen to it, speak it, see it every day. Repeat, repeat, repeat. One day, you will be amazed at the person you have become. How many times have you wondered, why doesn't my life change even though I try so hard to change? You set goals, you plan, you swear this time it will be different. But months pass, the year ends, and deep down, everything stays the same. The same overdue bills, the same frustrations, the same feeling of being stuck in a cycle you cannot break. I've been there, and let me tell you clearly, the problem is not your effort. The problem is you're trying to change the results without changing the mindset that creates those results. Have you ever tried painting a moldy wall without treating the dampness first? On the outside it might look good, but soon the mold returns. The mind works the same way. If you try to change only the outside, your behavior, habits, actions, without first resetting the system that controls all that inside, you might win small battles, but your old reality will always find a way back. People believe they need to work harder, sacrifice more. But the truth is, the more you force a change without changing the underlying model, the more tired and frustrated you become. Eventually, you start to believe success isn't for you, wealth isn't for you, happiness only happens to others. But let me share something that flipped a switch inside me. You don't change your reality by fighting it. You change it by creating a new one. Buckminster Fuller said that, and he was absolutely right. You don't fix what's broken. You create a new model, one so strong, consistent, and true that the old model becomes obsolete. And it all starts in the mind. You've probably seen people win a lot of money, in the lottery, for example, and lose it all within a few years. That's not chance. That's a lack of a mindset compatible with that level of prosperity. Take Jack Whittaker, who won over £300 million in the Powerball. Soon he was caught in scandals and family tragedies and lost almost everything, not because he was a bad person, but because his internal mindset was still programmed for scarcity, not abundance. The money arrived, but his old mental model pulled everything back like a rubber band tied to his ankle. This happens every day to thousands of people. You may make progress, achieve something, take a step forward, but if your paradigm hasn't changed, your subconscious will find ways to sabotage, delay, block, or even destroy that progress. That's why I repeat, you don't need to fight your current reality. You need to design a new one. The first step is to visualize a new way of living, where you want to live, who you want around you, how much you want to earn, and feed your mind with it daily until your subconscious accepts it as natural. When the past still controls you, moving forward is hard. When I decided to build a global company, I had no idea how it would happen, but I wrote, repeated, and visualized as if it were already real. Soon, what once felt distant started coming closer, and today my business reaches people worldwide. But it all began in my mind, with a new model nurtured by belief. You can do the same, but you must stop trying to change your life from the outside and start from within, because that is where the real game happens. Once you understand this, you stop chasing change and begin creating it. Everything starts with a decision, not just any decision, but one that changes the course of your life. Many people don't grasp the power of a true decision. They think deciding means, maybe I should do this, but real decisions involve action, commitment, and daily repetition. I remember the day I made a decision that changed my life. I wrote, I will build a company that operates worldwide. I had no resources, team, or training, only the decision. That decision changed how I thought and acted, attracting people, ideas, and opportunities, because a true decision changes your point of attraction and behavior. Over time, it also changes your reality. The problem is, most people keep deciding and quickly changing their minds when obstacles, criticism, or doubts appear and return to comfort zones. The saddest part is they don't realize it, betraying themselves, losing self-trust, and trapped in cycles of frustration and guilt. Think now, how many times have you decided to change but didn't keep your promises? How often did you say you would save money, study, start a project, or take care of your health but stopped halfway? It's not because you're weak or lack willpower, but because you haven't understood the power of firm, clear, repeated decisions that eliminate other options. When you make a real decision, you no longer look sideways. You burn the ships, as the saying goes, and that decision becomes the foundation of a new identity. Napoleon Hill studied successful people and found they make decisions quickly and change slowly, if at all, while those who hesitate postpone everything and overthink. People who ask everyone's opinion and think too much end up deciding nothing, and their lives stay stuck because without decision there is no movement, and without movement, no progress. You don't need more time or motivation. You need to decide and repeat that decision daily until it becomes an unquestionable part of who you are and strengthens your identity. Identity is destiny. You might say you don't have time for this right now, that you're busy with many commitments, but let me ask you, how many of those commitments are truly important? How many of those things taking your time are really leading you where you want to go? The truth is, You don't have time to waste living a life that isn't yours. The only thing separating you from the life you want is the courage to choose it, and that choice can be made today. If you think you don't have the energy, that you're too old, or that you don't have the right profile, listen carefully. Those are just excuses from the old paradigm trying to keep you where you are. I'm over 80 years old and have more energy than many people in their 30s, not because of genetics, but because my mind is alive, active, and focused. I have never stopped learning or deciding. Each new decision has brought me more vitality, clarity, and purpose. Now listen to what I'm going to tell you. You have the power to declare a new destiny. You can write the next chapter of your life with one decision. But it must be firm. It must be committed. It must be sustained every day by actions that reinforce who you are becoming. This is where repetition comes in, because without repetition, the decision cools and the old you returns. So here is the invitation. Choose now what you want. Write it down, affirm it, visualize it, live it in your mind every day as if it were already real. If you repeat it enough, a time will come when the outside world aligns with what you have built inside. When that happens, you won't ask, "Will this work?" You'll smile and say, "I decided this. I built this." That, my friend, is freedom. That is power. That is truly living. Nothing changes until you change what repeats inside you. You can want a new life, dream big, even be surrounded by good opportunities. But if the same thoughts keep repeating in your mind, the same results will keep happening in your life. The path to break this cycle is right in front of you. Conscious repetition, firm decision, new mental model. This is what changes everything. Now, if you feel something has awakened inside you, if some piece finally clicked, then don't stop here. The next video is already appearing on your screen. Click it now and take another step forward on this journey. One more step to become 1% better than you are now. Thank you for being with me up to this point, and I'll be waiting for you in the next video. Let's move forward together.